Hi, I'm Cleo, and I'm here to talk to you about basic income. At some point. Unconditional, non-withdrawable, universal. An income that everyone receives from cradle to grave. It's a simple concept, and that's what makes it beautiful. When you start looking at the specific economic models for basic income, that's when it becomes much more complicated. How much is it? How do we find the money for it? Who do we tax more? When do we pay it? How do we pay it? That all becomes very complicated, but we can understand how it would affect us and our families and the people we know just by understanding the basics. When public interest is piqued, this is what governments offer. They offer an experiment, but experiments aren't universal. Basic income goes to everyone. That's the intrinsic aspect of it. So an experiment can't represent what a full basic income would do for a society. This is often the problem. A government can come in and potentially we're really close, we already have a basic income and they can take it away, which is kind of what happened with the Ontario experiment. So as citizens, for it to work, we need to understand it, demand it, and not let people take it away. So what is work? In physics, it's the energy transferred when an object is moved by an external force, and we tend to define it as labor and time exchanged for money. Caring for children, caring for the elderly, engaging with our communities, looking after ourselves, doing the washing up. This is all work that we all do without being paid for. Potentially, if we're too busy at our day jobs, we might pay someone else to do it if we have the disposable income. But we do these things without being paid. So how do we define valuable labor? Is it just selling our time to the highest bidder, or is it about doing stuff that fulfills us? If we had a guaranteed income, we could choose how we spend our time and our energy, and we could put a value on things that isn't represented by money. So obviously, technology is changing the way that we work, as we've heard. You can pretty much do most jobs from anywhere, and maybe in places that we haven't heard of in the Highlands. But contracts and employers are only just starting to acknowledge that. Many things can now be automated that were once done by humans, which I don't think is inherently a bad thing. I think automation is a scary concept, but if you can automate a job or part of a job that used to be done by a person, then she should be able to put her feet up and either work less or do a more interesting part of her job for the rest of the week. But in reality, that's not the society we live in. So really, automation is dangerous. If a job is automated, the income is lost, the support for that person, potentially their family, is gone, and there's no safety net for them. Should have thought of more things to say there. So to thrive as a society, we need to support individuals. Every individual needs to be supported for us to be a functioning society, and a basic income would be part of doing that. It would mean that people could change what they're up to and they wouldn't be completely lost. This is a question that I genuinely get asked when I talk about basic income by people that I am surprised by. Maybe they're just asking me if I would sit around in my pants, which has been known to happen, but if we think about this carefully, if you give someone the basic means to survive and what they do is nothing, they spend time at home sitting on their sofa, this is a sign of a deeper problem within that person. And as a society, we should strive to support people that are struggling to function rather than vilifying them. And a basic income would be part of doing that. So this is a theory that I've lazily stolen from Bullshit Jobs. It's the joy that an infant feels when they're flailing their limbs around and they realize that it's them that's causing objects to crash to the ground. Humans need to work to feel happy, and they need to cause change, meaningful change, to feel meaningfully happy. So obviously we're all on board with basic income. When do we get our paycheck? But we know that the state of the world is in disrepair. Is it really something that's going to happen? There are 4 local authorities in Scotland that are looking at the feasibility of a basic income experiment: North Ayrshire, Fife, Edinburgh, and Glasgow. Scotland is seriously considering this as part of its future. So now is the time for us to say, we want a basic income, and we want you to make it happen. I'm here representing Citizens Basic Income Network Scotland, and we are here to empower people to join in the conversation. Like I say, it's universal, it's non-withdrawable, and it's unconditional. That's all you need to know to tell us how it would affect your life and to engage with the conversation. So you can come along to our events, you can read the stuff that we have online. Like I say, the data that comes from basic income experiments is of course valuable and interesting, but it kind of tests a hypothesis rather than looking at what a basic income would do. We can all say what a basic income would do for us, and that is incredibly valuable to the conversation that's happening around the world. This is an interesting question to ask, and it's a fun question to answer. So if you have an interesting answer to this question, you can tweet us at CBIN Scott. I would paint and I would write, and it wouldn't have to be good because it wouldn't have to pay me to make up for the time that I was spending doing it. I want to see a future of work that recognizes centuries of unpaid care, that recognizes the work that people do to look after their families and lets them do it if they want to. I want to see a future of work that lets creativity happen regardless of whether it makes a profit. And a basic income would be part of that future of work. Thanks.